Hey folks, Russ Bailey here. It's time for another BrushPile Fishing, the video podcast. Actually coming to you from the Grizzly Tackle Show. You know, you've heard me talk about that a lot of times. If you are a crappie fisherman, this is where you need to be. There's nothing like it. You know, it's great coming down here year after year and seeing the same people that we've seen every year. And right now I've got a great guest with me. I've known this man for quite a long time, Mr. John Mayo from Mississippi. John, how we doing?
Great to meet you, Russ.
I'll tell you what, you know, we've talked about doing a show together, and
Yes, sir.
Timing's been off and stuff. But you work for a guide service down there,
Yes,
and,
sir, I
and
do.
it's going to kill me to give him any credit. But JH Guide Service, that John Harris guy.
Yes, sir. John Harrison. He and I tournament fished against each other for several years, became really good friends, and I've been guiding on the Big Four quite a while with him. And, you know, we're getting ready to start up guide season right there in Mississippi. It's right around the corner. Water's rising, water temp's getting ready, and as soon as we leave Grizzly Jig, we're going to hit the water and get ready.
Well, you know, we're in the first week of February, and I know you're fishing down there already. And of course, Grenada and all of them lakes are pull-down lakes. What are you doing right now? How low is the lake, and what method are you using?
Water is extremely low. We got about a 4-inch rain last night. The lakes are rising right now. Primarily, the only way to catch a fish right now is live scoping.
Okay.
Lakes are extremely muddy. Water temperatures in the mid-40s. Fish are in the top of the water column. Right now, any fish below 5 foot, I will not even slow down or look at. Fish that are on top of the water column are the fish that are body.
So when you say they're in the top of the water column, what depth is that water you're fishing?
We are fishing 9 to 12 foot of water. Fish are 1 foot to 4 foot deep. I call it sunbathing. They're coming up in the top, warmest part of the water column, and that's where we're catching those fish. Some of the biggest fish I've caught in the past 4 weeks have been so shallow you can't even see the jig on your live scope. You know, water temperature's warming up, water's rising, fish have started moving down the lake on their spring pattern. They're starting to move up shallow in the mouths of creeks. As soon as that water temperature hits 48 to 50 degrees, we'll change over for our guide season. We'll start trolling.
And we'll stop you right there. So right now, if someone would book a trip, you're looking at some live scoping, but a lot of folks still are not into that.
That's right.
They want to go old school, whether it's single pole fishing, spider rigging. So let's talk about that. You say when the water temperature starts at about 50?
As soon as the water temperature hits around 50 degrees, we will start what I call slow trolling. We'll take a B&M 18-foot PST, and that's extremely to get the baits away from the boat. Those fish will stay shallow in the water column. We'll use an 18-foot pole strictly to get the bait away from the boat noise, and those fish will be, sometimes they will be so shallow that you'll actually see a swirl on top of the water when they hit. I think you've gotten in on some of that in the past. Extremely fun, you know, great time to catch a fish of a lifetime down there. We will primarily live bait fish. We'll use a crappie magnet on a gold minnow hook tipped with a minnow. And that's how we will start. My favorite way to fish, I've done it my entire life, is to wade fish. Soon as we get into that 3rd week of March, I'm putting up a $100,000 skeeter boat, and I'm getting out a 15-foot John boat. Put on a pair of waders and get the old 10-foot B&M out and get with it.
Now, let's stop you there again. So anyone that's seen our television show,
That's right.
they know I can go fish with alligators. It doesn't bother me. You let me see a snake this big, and I'm going to tell you it's 12 foot, okay? And I'm walking on water. I'm gone.
Yes, sir.
So if I do this wading trip with you, we going to see snakes?
Yes, sir, guaranteed.
So me and you's going to fish out of a boat?
Negative, sir. We're getting in the water.
I got people laughing. I don't do snakes at all. Zero zilch. But no, I actually, a couple years ago, you know, we talked about it's John's guide service, and we were down in Mississippi to try to get a show with another guy, and things didn't work out. And John happened to call me that day, and I told him, I said, well, we're going to head home tomorrow. He said, well, did you get the show you wanted? I said, no. And we had dark clouds coming. I mean, it was getting windy. He said, well, you want to do a wading show? I said, John, you got a storm coming in. He said, man, we got about an hour and a half. We can do it.
That's right.
And man, we took the boat ride over to this island, and I mean, we were bouncing everywhere. We got in, and in 45 minutes, if you watch that wading show, folks, it's on YouTube, 45 minutes, we were done with that show, start
That's
to
right.
finish.
Nothing in the world. I catch crappie, you name it, I do it. We power troll, long line, crankbait, slow troll, live scope, you name it. Besides hand grenade and dynamite, we do it. And, for us boys that's born and bred in Mississippi, wading is what we love to do. It's what we grew up doing. And, snakes don't bother us like y'all folks from up north. We just grew up down there doing it. You just got to.
No. So we'll talk, before I cut you loose here, so we've talked about what you're doing right now, live scoping. That water warms up in the 50s, you're going to start spider rigging.
That's right.
When will you go into your summer pattern to where you're vertical jigging or pulling crankbaits? Because I know pulling crankbaits is huge.
So that's a great question. A pattern that was born and raised right there in Mississippi's power trolling. We get into, you'll still have male fish shallow 1st of May. We get into that 2nd week of May, those fish start filtering out our creeks and our rivers. They use them just like a highway, and they head back out to the flats. As soon as we see those fish start doing that, start coming out of our bushes, headed back out the main lake, we start power trolling. And by far one of the funnest ways to fish. You can absolutely put some fish in.
Tell the folks exactly what that is and how fast you're actually moving.
So this past year, every year we seem to learn a little bit more about power trolling. This past year we were running 1.7 miles an hour. The funnest question I got all year long, people get in my boat and they say, well, how do I know when I get a bite? I look at them and tell them, I say, trust me, when we get a bite, you won't have to ask. When it looks like it's wrapped up in the trolling motor and the pole's down in the water, grab a hold of it, because there's a good one on there. But we do that all summer long. We use it as a combination technique when we're trolling. We'll power troll out the front, long line out the back of the boat. As the summer progresses, we will usually cut back on our long lining setups and we'll go to crankbaiting. So we will literally run 8 poles out the front with a 3-ounce weight on a B&M power troller running 1.7 mile an hour, and we'll pull crankbaits at the same time out the back of the boat. And we'll do that all the way to our fall pattern. That is the primary technique we use. And it's strictly, power trolling is a technique to cover water and catch the active fish. That is the name of the game. We want to cover as much water as we can to catch the active fish. And they're scattered. They're on river channel ledges, they're on main lake points, secondary points, so they're scattered.
Yep.
And the key to the game then is covering water, and that's the way to do it.
And if you've never done the power trolling, when you're doing, especially down south, they're using 3-ounce weights.
That's right.
To keep that line straight down. That's what allows them to move that fast.
That's right.
And we've done some shows on that with you guys down there, man. It's amazing, and the quality of fish all summer long.
It's fun. I call that 3-ounce weight, I call it breaking out the cannonballs.
Yes, sir.
And if you want to go out there and drink lemonade and kick back in the chair, well, that technique's probably not for you. I mean, we have numerous days that we catch 75 to 100 fish. And it's a technique. When you get done with it, you'll know you've been out there doing it. You go to whooping on those power trollers and 3-ounce weights, you know it.
Yep.
And but it's an extremely fun technique. We're learning a little more every year about it. And we're going to continue to learn and progress the power trolling technique. And it's an absolutely fun technique to use.
All right, there you have it, folks. We're taking you from now through summer on those power lakes down in Mississippi, especially Grenada. I've known John many years. I appreciate you joining me.
Yes, sir.
And like I say, folks, I hate to do it, but I got to give John Harrison credit too. It's his guide service. All joking aside, give him a call. If you've never fished with John or John, you'll have a ball with them down there, and you're going to learn a lot of things too. So next time you go back, if you're bringing your boat, you're going to feel more comfortable about setting things up the way that they did and getting on them fish right away. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, sir. Look forward to getting you back down to Mississippi.
I'll be there. Folks, before we take off, want to remind you, it doesn't matter if you've got an Apple phone or an Android phone. If you don't have the BrushPile fishing app, you're missing the boat. It's completely free to download. It has a bunch of great features. First of all, our television show, all of them are there, easy to access, completely free. We always start with the most recent show, which we are airing a new show the first Monday of every month on Facebook and YouTube and everything. but also fishing log. That's one of my favorite features. If I'm going fishing today, we used to do it, handwritten. You can keep all your notes right there in that app. You've got it. Say you see this man on the show, you decide, man, I'd like to book a trip with him. We've got a guide section on that app. You can actually look up John. It'll give you a bio of him, where he guides. It's got a phone number to get him direct or an email, either way. So there's a lot of cool features. Check that out. It's the BrushPile Fishing app. And again, it's completely free, no matter if you have the Apple or the Android. So John, again, thanks for joining us on the
Thank you,
BrushPile
Russ.
podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll be back again with another BrushPile Fishing, the podcast. All right, man. Thank you.
Good to go?
Yeah. 11 minutes. Good.